This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we talked about the how to log into the private machine, the private EC2 machine. That's a passion house concept we discussed about. And also after that, immediately we discussed about, let's say we have the instances created in the private subnet. Now, of course, they don't have any connectivity uh, with respect to the public subnet, or they don't have the connectivity with, sorry, my bad. I'm talking about they don't have the connectivity with respect to the internet gateway. In such case, how they can access the internet? So we have one resource called as the NAT gateway through which they can access the internet gateway, and that's what the best practices we discuss about. Now after that, we talked about the EBS volume. Now, EBS volume is nothing but it's an elastic block storage system in which you are going to create the EBS. So you actually create it along with your operating system. That's it. So when you are launching the EC2 instances, okay, along with that, you actually launch the EBS volume also. And EBS volume is like your hard disk that is attached to your server, and that particular EBS volume, that has a lot of different usage, such as the we actually store the operating system there. Then we can store the n number of file system data, the database, a lot of data we can store there, and you have to the uh, provision the EBS volume, and in later stage also you can just increment the uh, just the storage size. Okay, and you might have to perform the various activities with respect to EBS volume, but you just have to Google them, and you should get the various activities that whichever wish to perform. Let's say you have created a backup snapshot and you wish to restore the snapshot. Okay, how you can do that? So like there are various activities you can do along with your EBS volume, and for each and every you should get a documentation. With that you should be able to do your work or operation activities. The way I did it for the for increasing the volume. Okay, so resizing the volume is something we did. So the similar way you can do the rest of the activities. Now today we are going to start with talking about the auto scaling group. That is the one of the very important feature we have from the AWS. And yes, any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay. So today we will be discussing about the very important topic, which is AWS auto scaling group. Okay, now AWS auto scaling is the one of the very popular service we have, and with the help of this service, we actually create all the instances. Okay, so in real-time scenarios, whenever you see the EC2 servers, so those servers we don't launch it manually. Okay, in most of the cases that whenever you are working for an organization, so in real-time scenarios, you guys don't create the instances manually, but you actually create it with the help of the auto scaling group. So auto scaling group is the way with which we should be all the time we should be creating the instances, and why that's a requirement we have. Okay, like why we have to go with the auto scaling group. So let's discuss that first. Okay, like what is the problem it is solving? What is the problem we have right now, and what problem it is solving? So let's understand that. So here, first of all, let's understand that you guys have created, let's suppose, one EC2 machine you have created the one EC2 machine, and now that EC2 machine creation is something you have done it, right? Further, here you put one application, and that application is you are accessing from outside. So here you have people who are accessing this application, and you're happy that your application is working fine and everything is good. But in few days that this application is getting popular, and the number of people who are accessing the application those are getting increased. Okay, so your application is getting popular. Now in such case, what will happen? The traffic, the incoming traffic which is coming to this EC2 server is getting increased. Now whenever any of the traffic hits, okay, so what happened basically that either this user is going to put some URL, then this URL will hit to this particular server, and then server has to respond back. Okay, server has to respond back to that request with it's like HTTPS request or HTTP request. So server has to respond back. So here you might be having something, let's say if it is website, then Apache or Nginx kind of a web server you'll be having, and then that particular web server is going to reply back to this user. Okay, so as many as requests are coming to your EC2 server, those many requests this EC2 has to acknowledge, and it has to respond back. So in that case, what happened that for each and every request, there's some CPU utilization consumption happen. Okay, so basically you can say it's a direct proportion of with the traffic. Okay, as many as users are connecting to your EC2 server, that much of CPU utilization will be happen. Okay, so basically I can say that the more traffic I have, the more CPU utilization will be there. Correct? So further, at some point, my this particular machine is having, or it is created what with some instance type, right? Let's say I created something with the C5 large. Okay. Now C5 large is something the machine type I have created, which is having somewhere around 4 GB RAM or something like that. Okay. So this particular machine or this particular configuration, with this configuration, I have created a machine, and of course it is going to bear the request at certain level. But after that, okay, after that, like let's say still my the users are getting new users are getting to the application. So at after a certain time, that my this EC2 server won't be able to bear the further request. Okay, because CPU consumption is what it is like is at the next level, and my this alone EC2 server will not be handle the request. And then further, whoever is connecting to the my machine, okay, those people will not be able to access the application. And yeah, so the people will not get the experience of good website. Okay, actually they will face a lot of issues there in that case, okay, while connecting to the our application. So that's the reason here we are looking for a solution that if okay, now in this case what you guys can do, that you can create one more EC2 machine. Okay, you can launch one more EC2 machine, and here you can place one more application. Okay, that's one thing you can do it. So you have solved the problem little bit, that now new users which are coming, they will be connecting to the new machine. Okay, so but let's say still again there is sudden spike came, and like a lot of people are getting connected to your application. Okay, so you cannot predict the traffic, that at what time how many machines you required. Okay, you cannot predict the time, like how many machines you required at what time. So that's the reason here we are looking for a solution that will automatically launch the EC2 machines for you guys, and everything has to be automated. Okay, so behind the scene, okay, behind the scene auto scaling should happen. You don't have to be the part of this activity, that you are launching the instances, then you are deploying the application by yourself, and then you made the application up, and then final user is accessing. No, okay, because the spike can come at the midnight. Okay, and dev senior can't just be looking at how much traffic they have at that time, right? So that's the reason here we need to have a solution, okay, a complete solution of that. As soon as the traffic is hitting to certain percentage, okay, let's say I have the I just assume a criteria that if my CPU percentage just went up to the 70%. I would like to launch one more EC2 machine. Okay, so something like that criteria we can set up, and as per that we can have the auto scaling, in which we can keep launching the instances as the traffic increases, and vice versa also, that if there is no traffic, then my extra machines are created running there, so just destroy those extra machines and go back to your previous state. So that's something we can implement with the help of something called as the ASG, that is what the auto scaling group. So you are not the one who cannot predict the traffic. So that's the reason I said that we should be creating the application or EC2 machines with the ASG, that is the auto scaling group, and that's what here we are going to learn. Okay, so I hope the problem statement is clear, that we will be launching the all the EC2 machines with the auto scaling group in real time scenarios, because never know that at what time what will happen, what how much traffic will come at any of the machine. So that is the reason here we always look for the solution of creating the auto scaling group to have the machine created automatically, and your termination also we can set up automatically. So that's what here the next thing we are going to learn. So one thing here we have realized that, okay, so auto scaling group is something, the resource that is going to launch the new machines whenever there is a high traffic is coming towards us. Okay, fine. What is further, like, but how to implement, or like how to create this auto scaling group? Okay, for that purpose we need to learn a few of the resources. Okay, and the very first one is that the launch template. Okay, now here we have one resource called as the launch template. Now why we have to learn the launch template? Because here launch template is the resource with the help of which we actually, so launch template is what? It's like a template you tell. Okay, you can just imagine it's a template. Okay, launch template is what? It's a template that how my instance should get launched. Correct. So here you guys know that the new machine, whichever the new machine will get created, now that machine has to get created by the ASG. Okay, the new machine has to get created by the ASG. So ASG is the one who is going to create the machines for you. And if that is the case, then it has to be done with the help of the launch template. Okay, so ASG is what? ASG is going to take help from the launch template. In the launch template, we tell that what is the configuration of the machine has to be. Okay, so when I say we have to launch a EC2 machine automatically, so ASG should know, right? Like what type of machine you want. What is the AMI? Whether you want a Ubuntu machine, or you want to have Amazon Linux machine, or how much storage you wish to have. Okay, with what key pair you would like to launch the instance. So all of this configuration you are going to save here in the launch template. Okay, so launch template is the resource in which you put the configuration that how you would like to have instance, and then with the help of that, in fact, you can launch the normal instance also. Okay, so let's say you have some task. Okay, you have some task of launching the one particular type of instance again and again. Okay, but manually. Okay, manually, that for some day, or let's say we are here practicing something. Okay, now you always go to launch instance or launching instance, and then you select the n number of options here, that the name of the instance, then the AMI, then here further you select the instance type, then key pair, in which VPC and everything that should get launched, you select everything. Then here you also select what? You select how much storage you want. And in advanced detail also, just assume that here if you have the options that you are selecting, like user data and then few of the options. Okay, so you always fill up this form first, and then you click on launch instance, and that's how your instances gets launched. Okay, But let's assume that you don't want to do that. Okay, you just want, you would like to set up some template, and with that template you would like to launch those instances. So can you do that? So yes, you can do that. So we have here the launch template, and this launch template, I already have one launch template. Let me simply delete that one. So this is a launch template we have. Like we can create here the launch template, and launch template is basically nothing but it is the that configuration, that how you would like to go with. It is the configuration of EC2 that how you'd like to go with. That's something you can save here. Okay, so you can say create launch template, and you can provide the different options. Let's say first of all it's asking you to provide a launch template name. So let's say name as per your choice. So let's say web app template. Okay, so that's the name of the launch template. You can provide your application name, and then you can go ahead. Then further, launch template gets created in something called as a version format. Okay, like this is the first version. Then further you would like to change anything, so you can create the new version out of that, and you can make the changes inside that new template. Okay, so you can keep updating your launch template, and the different versions get created. Okay, so here you can mention the version description. Okay, that this is a template you are creating. So what are the things you are adding in this particular template? Let's say you added an you're creating the new version of out of it. Okay, so what exactly changes you're making? So such things you can keep updating. Okay, now that would be the beneficial for you when you have something, there's so many versions, so you may be able to understand that in which version what you have exact the configuration. And you might have to just switch, or let's say with the ASG you have to launch the particular version configuration. Okay, so you can do that as well. So it's better that you can mention some description. It's up to you again. And the next thing is auto scaling is something we will learn ahead. Okay, till the time we are just like setting up the normal launch template. Then further here we have the launch template name. So let's suppose you have already created any launch template, and you just want to copy the launch template data from there, so you can do that. So till the time I have just like set up the name of launch template and nothing else. And here it start asking us the question that how you would like to have the EC2 server. Okay, and the way you do it. Okay, so you can just say quick start. Okay, in the quick start you can mention that what operating system you would like to go with, Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, anything like that. Okay, so just basic, just mention that one. Okay, then again within the Amazon Linux, which is the version that you would like to keep it. Okay, so you can mention that I'm happy with this Amazon Linux 2023, but of course anything else you would like to choose, you can go and choose that one. Then further here it's asking you to choose the instance type. Okay, so whatever the options you have selected while launching instance. Okay, so those options basically here you need to tell, and it's a one-time activity, right? So let's say here I'm
Aman,
choosing yes.
here it is asking architecture 64-bit. This is we always take 64-bit there.
Yes, correct. No, actually, this, what is this? This is basically the the architecture of your machine. So it's not always that, depending on your requirement, but in general, okay, in general, this is what the system we use nowadays, like almost everywhere. So in fact, like I'm using the laptop who is also having the architecture, which is the 8664.
It
Okay.
is similar to the laptop 62-bit and 64-bit.
Yes, yes,
Is it
correct.
so?
Yes, yes. This 64 is nothing but is referring to the whether you are using the 64 laptop or 32-bit. Yes, correct.
Okay, Aman.
Yeah. So the next thing is the instance type, and you can choose the again instance type as per your choice. Okay. So I'm just keeping the very simple one, T2 micro one. Key pair. Here then you're selecting the keeper. Okay, now let's suppose that any of the parameter that you don't want to choose it while while here. Okay, it might be something the parameter might get changed every single time. Okay, let's say the key pair. Okay, now I'm not sure about the key pair, that it might change while launching. I would like to decide that. So yes, you can decide that at the launch time also. So we have that option, right? Don't include in launch template. So basically, whenever we will be launching at that time, just you can select that. But better, most of the parameters just selected here, because that's what that's what the problem we are trying to solve, right? That you don't want to choose the select, or you don't want to select the things when you're launching the instance. So let's just better select the most of the parameter here. Then subnet, you can tell to in which subnet you would like to launch the instance. So you can mention it here. Now there is a only small difference you need to keep in mind, that we also have the ASG. Okay, ASG. Now with the ASG, if you are doing the things, then in that case, that like if you're doing the things with the ASG, so ASG is going to launch the instances. Okay, so even if you have mentioned here the subnet, okay, even if you have mentioned the subnet here, so that won't comes into the picture if you are launching the instance with the ASG, because ASG will decide in which subnet you want to launch the instance. Okay, so we will be telling, like, that's an upcoming thing actually, when we will be talking about the ASG. So at that time the picture will get clear for you guys. But ASG is going to launch the instances automatically for you. So in that case, we will be telling to ASG that this is your scope. Okay, like subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, this is going to be your scope. So ASG is going to launch the first instance here, second instance here, okay, third instance here, like that. It's going to be the ASG's policy, that how he would like to launch the instances. So whether you fill up the option here, uh, but from the out of this launch template, you just want to launch the instances manually, in that case this option could be helpful for you. Okay, or else in the case of AG, this option is not helpful. Okay, fine. So I'm not selecting anything here. Let's say while launching the instances manually from the launch template, we can fill up that. Okay, while on the fly we can just mention that option. Okay, then any of the security group that you would like to attach to your launch machines. Okay, like whenever you're launching machine, so any specific security group you would like to attach. So if you don't have security group, like if you want to choose the existing security group, you can select it from here, or else you can click here to create security group, and then you can mention that one. Okay, so just mention the security groups here. Okay, so let's say I have this my LBSG. Okay, now that's something security group I have, which I have created manually. Okay, now if you guys don't know how to create manually, you can just click, or else just click on here that create security group. You can provide some security group name, description, in which VPC you're creating one. Okay, and you can also add a security group rule, that whether you would like to add which particular rule, port 22 or anything like that. Okay, so here also we have the option, or else you can just say select existing security group, and here I have added the my LBSG. Then this option is if you would like to add any network interface by yourself, okay, extra interface. In such case, you can go and add that one. But in our case, that's not a required thing. So let's not go into that. And finally, here we have the EBS volume. So EBS volume, the volume we will be having the 8 GB. So if you wish to have, let's say, the 10 GB, so you can just increase that one. Okay. Also, not just one. Let's say you would like to add multiple volume. Okay, you can just keep adding the multiple volume to single EC2 machine. Okay, so that one you can do it. Then further in advanced detail, here at last you can mention any of the script that you would like to put. So let's say uh, hash exclamatory mark bin bash. Okay, that's a shebang character we always have to mention within the bash script. Okay, and here you can mention that sudo uh, you know uh, yum update, then sudo yum install httpd, something like that. So you just find out the commands, okay, like what are the commands you have for installing any of the particular software. So let's say you require n number of software. So you'll be just creating one bash script of it, and that bash script here you can pass it. So when your instances are getting launched, okay, so those software will be installed here. So that's what here you can do. So we are good, okay, we are good mentioning all the configuration with respect to your launch machine, EC2 machine, and like the way we create every single time the launch EC2 machine. So it's the same thing, right? So it's the same launch template configuration we are mentioning. I can click on the create launch template, okay, and here you see that launch template creation is done. So on the EC2, okay, on the EC2 here you can see launch template. Here we're done with the launch template, and if I select that launch template, let's say immediately just now I have to launch one EC2 server, okay, what I can do is I can just go to this action, and here I have the option that is to launch instance from the template, okay, I can just select that one, and here you can see the so this is source template. I have the default version, we just have the one version, we can keep updating the version. So everything is already selected, which AMI, then T2 micro machine or any of the key pair, security group, which security group, EBS volume, everything is already selected, so I don't have to select anything. I can just say launch instance, and that's how my instance gets launched, okay. So with just a single click, okay, like now earlier I have to just keep the the track of what are the parameters I have to launch with, okay. So probably this one option that I can follow, I can select create one launch template, and with that launch template I can just put all configuration, I can keep launching the machines, okay. Now this option is also can help me in case of in the case of where we have to keep the all the machine configuration as a standard one, okay. So when we have to keep the machine configuration as standard one, in such case this is the good option that we can go with. And yes, here you can see that instance is something that we have launched within no time, and with just a one few click, okay, one click, we have created this launch template. So this launch template here we have launched instance manually, okay, but if the AHG, this is something we are going to configure, that we are going to tell to AHG to launch the machines for us. So is this understood to you all? Any questions with respect to launch template, guys? Is this understood? Like what is meant by launch template? Is it, do you understood?
Amal, just once, can you briefly explain the meaning of launch template? How creation process I got, just the meaning of launch template.
So launch template is what basically you, if you just look the near like name carefully, it is a launch template, right? How you would like to launch your instances. So if you would like to document that, and then that documentation you are going to use it for further launching of the instance. So it's like, one time you will put some time to set up that how you would like to create your instances, and that you will save inside that launch template. Now we have the launch template ready, and just now we launch one EC2 instance, okay. Let's say you would like to launch one more instance, okay. You will simply go to launch template. There you will select which launch template you would like to choose. Just choose that one. Click on action, or like just say launch instance, and then you can just say launch instance, and with one click you're launching your instances. So you are deciding the configuration first, and with that help of the configuration you are actually launching your instances. So that's what the launch template is. You get my point?
So for instances, we are giving everything. If we configure once in launch template, we can create instances instantly.
Yeah, again and again we can just create it. So that's what the we can do it with the help of launch template.
Okay, Amal.
Yeah.
Got
And
it,
now
Amal.
why? Yeah. Okay. And now why we are doing this? Like you can still argue with me that I'm just absolutely fine while selecting the parameter here. Let's say you can say that I can just go and click on launch instance and I can keep launching the instances, okay? But this one especially we are doing it for the ASG, that is auto scaling group. So auto scaling group is other service we have to deal with ahead. So this auto scaling group will require something that to be provisioned, like how your EC2 machine should get launched. That configuration has to be there already. Okay, so that's the reason we are actually creating this launch template. Okay, but of course the other benefit you can see that you can keep the instances configuration standard and everything that can be done with the help of the agent. That's what we actually want. Okay, let's say I'm creating one application, and then for that application I'm creating, let's say, 10 EC2 machines. So all of those 10 machines has to be with the equal configuration. Okay, so that's what we do in real time, that it couldn't be the case that for one machine I chosen the 10 GB of storage, for one machine I'm choosing the 15 GB of storage. No, that's not the way you do the things in real time. All the machines will have identical configuration, and that's what we are expecting here, and we can achieve that one with the help of the auto scaling group. So launch template is the way through which we are going to tell to the AG, like, this is what the configuration with which you have to launch the instances. Okay, so that's a launch template is having a very small use case. It's just storing all the configuration, and that with that configuration we can launch the EC2 machines. Okay guys, any other questions? Anyone? No questions? Okay, great. So let's move ahead then. So further here we are done with creating the launch template, and now I'll just delete that machine. Okay, I have just like launch it for you to make you understand. Okay, so next thing is that we would like to uh, go and like talk about the AG. Okay, now AG is something here we have auto scaling group. Okay, here we have the option at last, so I can click there, and you can just see the helps to maintain the availability of your application. Basically you can keep launching the multiple machines, and this is what the diagrammatic representation that they have shown to us. Okay, so you can just see this the dark square box. Okay, so those are like created machines, and here you also need to set few of the parameters. Okay, you also select a few of the parameters, such as the very first parameter you select here, that is the so when it comes to the AG, that is auto scaling group. So you also set up few of the parameters, such as the minimum machine, maximum machine, and desired capacity. Okay, somebody's on mute. Yeah. So here you also need to know about the few of the parameter that you to select, that you need to understand while launching the EC2 AG. Okay, auto scaling group. So the very first parameter, that at the same time how many minimum machines counts that you would like to launch. Okay, so you can just assume that you are going to launch the group of machines. Okay, so let's say my application here I'm launching, and I'll be also having like one small thinking that, let's say I have the 500 users. Okay, so probably the 3 to 4 machines are enough for me. So in all the case, all the time, okay, in all the time, that how much is the minimum machine count that has to be running. Okay, what is the minimum count of machine that has to be running all the time is something I can tell to the ASG. Okay, so I can say, let's say minimum machine count is, I would like to keep it, let's say, 2. Okay, so what is mean by that, that even though when there is no traffic at all, okay, even though when there is no traffic at all, in that case also I'll be having the 2 machines will be running all the time. Okay, 2 machines will be running all the time. So in where is no traffic there at all. Okay, in that case, I'm talking about that minimum count has to be the 2. So suddenly something people started accessing application. In that case, at least there are two machines that has to be running all the time. Okay, so even though my traffic is like 0%, okay, still the two machines will be always running all the time. That's the minimum count is there. Then we have one more terminology, that is the maximum count. Okay, so let's say we have a traffic, people are connecting, and we are kept launching the EC2 machines. Okay, right now let's say assume that three of the machines we have, I added one, like ASG added fourth one. Then again there's still more traffic we have, ASG added fifth one. Okay, like that ASG keep adding. But what is the maximum count that I would like to keep it? Okay, so and why I have to define the maximum count? Because see, ultimately I have to pay the price. It's not that ASG is launching the instances, so I don't have to pay the prices or anything, like, correct? So for each and every machine is getting launched, for that, after launching, okay, like for how much time that machine is running, so that pricing we have to pay. And of course each client has some budget of their, they can bear, they can just go up to the 100 machines, they can go up to, let's say, 10 machine. So that maximum count you can select that, let's say I can go up to 10 machines but not more than that. Okay, so after 10 more, like, even let's say I have the 10 machines running, and even after that also I'm having the traffic, okay, that is just suggesting me to increase the count. Okay, still if I've selected the 10 machine count as maximum, then age is not going to launch any further instance. Okay, so that's what the maximum count is. Maximum count is basically that will restrict launching further instances, that yes, this is what the maximum my capacity is, and then of course I cannot further afford the instances, so don't launch instances beyond to this limit. Okay, so that's what the maximum count we have. Then third one we have as the desired. Okay, so desire is what, that at initial, what is your thought on launching the instance. Okay, so let's say I would like to launch the three instances. So you can say yes, you can go and launch the three of the instances. So when the AG is going to create the actual instances, so at that time it is going to launch the three number of instances. Okay, and the people get confused here with the minimum and the desire, like a lot of time. Okay, so let me explain to you. Desire means what, that you desired, like you want to have those three number of instances. Okay, so AG is going to simply create the three number of instances. Now, over a period of time, what happens that the number of instances happen here with the AG, that let's say traffic got increased, so now three instances will become four. Okay, four instances become five. Okay, and let's say there is no traffic at all. Okay, so that count will again go reverse back to, let's say, four, then again three, and let's say still there is no traffic. Then in that case, it can also become the two. Again, here in this case, it is not going to be below to this two number of instance line. Okay, so the minimum count, it will go and stop at the three. So desired is what you initially define, that this is my desired count is, but that desired count will not remain or permanently. Okay, so desired is what at initially you tell that this is what something I just want to go with. Further, we can't remain on that figure. Okay, now in most of the cases it just happened that you tell to have a three number of instances, and you have something, the traffic in your mind, that three number of instances are good for me. So probably with this count you're able to create, or you're able to deploy your application, and there's no problem occurred at all. Okay, so maybe all the time you have just a three number of instances running. But over a period of time, if this start going into, or minimum, or going into this phase, then the figure starts changing. Okay, so that's what here the difference we have. And to avoid the confusion, okay, to avoid the confusion, we also do it this way, that minimum and the maximum we just keep it same. So let's say minimum is 2, desire also we keep it 2. Okay, so two number of instances get launched, and all the time two number of instances will be kept just like that. Okay, so these are the three numbers you just need to understand, the three terminologies you need to understand, okay, before getting into the AAG. So age is basically we're setting up the auto scaling group. So age is going to launch the instances for us now. And here you
Amal,
just tell, yes,
if a question is asked like what difference between minimum and desired, how to answer it in a simple way? Because it was a little difficult in understanding.
fine, fine. I'll tell you. Okay. So you can just, something that if you have understanding, you can just explain that with the example. Okay. So you can tell them that if you wish to launch the instances, or if your desired is that you would like to launch the three number of instances, so you can set up the desired capacity as a three. Okay. So age is going to launch the three number of instances. Now further, if the traffic gets added, CPU utilization becomes high, the age is going to launch more number of instances, or age is going to launch the minimum, like age is going to terminate the instances. Okay. So that operation goes on. And in that case, it might happen that this, like, whenever we have something three number of capacity of three instances running, in that case, if still there is no traffic at all, okay, in that case it can just go up to the your minimum count also. Okay, so it's basically what, that depending on how much traffic you have, that the number of instances will vary. And in that case, the fixed count is what, the minimum capacity and the maximum capacity. Okay, that the minimum count you can have two, it cannot go beyond to that, and maximum is what, 10. So again, it cannot have, we cannot have the 11 instances, right? So that's what the, you can explain.
Amal, we can understand like this. Desired is the initial launches which we are creating. Like initially it will be three. If we
Correct.
keep the desired, yeah. Okay, Amal.
Yes, so it will be initially, but it cannot guarantee us that all the time it is going to be the three.
Yeah, it will be desired is all. We can take it as initial count.
Yes, you can say that. Yes, correct.
Okay, Amal. Okay, got it, Amal.
Okay, so fine guys, here this is what something we have understood. If we have understood it, we can just go ahead and there's one more thing that terminology we have in case of ASG, that is the scale out. Scale out means that we are adding the instances, right? And scale in means what, we are terminating the extra instances. Okay, so scale out means that the extra instances that what you add, so that we call it as a scale out. And scale in means that, scaling means that the thing is getting shrink. Okay, this thing is getting shrink. So scale in means what, the extra instances that we are removing. So that's what the terminology here we need to understand. Now if you are good with these terminologies, we can go ahead and create the AG. So here we have option to create auto scaling group, so just click on that. Now here we have a number of options to select with. So actually there is one more thing that gets integrated. Okay, so AG is alone, like we don't just select, like just create the AG alone. There's one more resource that we have to learn actually, till the time we haven't learned, which is the load balancer. Okay, so load balancer we will learn tomorrow, or like if we have time permits, like today itself we will just combine and we will understand that, because load balancer is a separate resource. Okay, load balancer is a separate resource, but that integrates with the ASG, and that's how your end-to-end traffic works. So it's not just auto scaling group we have to create, but one by one we will learn, and tomorrow or probably today at the end of the session, if we get time, okay, we will attach that in load balancer. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to understand or simply create the ASG today. So here I have the auto scaling group name. Just provide the auto scaling group name as per your choice. So let's say web app ASG is the name I'm providing. Now this is the place you see that we have to mention the launch template. So launch template is something that we need to define, that what the launch template we have to decide for this particular EC2 machine. And yeah, here I can choose that one. So here you see that I'm having the web app template name. So just select that one. Now again, that we have the version here. Okay, we can choose a version. Now here this is something you guys have to choose a version carefully. Okay, because based on which version you would like to launch your instance. So at initial you will be having default one version, and you can keep updating the version there, launch template, okay, version 2, version 3, like that. Now, as a best practice, what it suggests that you should be keeping the version as the latest one. Why? Because let's say I'm doing some modifications, so next time the whatever the latest version I have, okay, so with that latest version of the launch template, I'm going to launch the instances. So let's say in V1 version, I have kept the T2 micro as a machine. In the V2 version, I just understood that T2 micro is not enough, so I should be having the uh, T2 medium. So I'll be making the changes in the launch template first. Okay. Once I made the changes there, like I'll show you. I'll show you how the versioning works. But right now, you guys just select here the latest one. Latest one is basically is telling you here that whenever we will be launching the instances, so in that case, whichever is the latest version, launch template version we have, so that is going to be considered as a version here. Okay, so that's what it is having the meaning, and you can just check that launch template is this one we have selected, and there T2 micro is the machine, AMID is this one, security group ID we have selected here. Okay, yeah, here everything looks great, and then finally I can say next. So as the here you see that launch template and everything is selected, and out of that, here you see that instance type network. Okay, network is basically in which VPC you would like to launch the thing. So here VPC is already selected, that's the default VPC, and here we have one more option, that is the availability zone. So define which availability zone and subnet your auto scaling group can use the chosen VPC. Okay, now here you have options that these are the three default subnets we have. Among them, which are the subnets you would like to consider? So let's say I selected here the two. Okay, if I select two, means what? AG is going to launch the instances for me in the two subnets only. Okay, not the third one. So it's your choice that which are the subnets that you would like to consider. Let's say you have six subnets, so you can select all the six. Okay, it's up to you. So for example, I'm just like choosing the here first 1A and 1B. 1C I'm not selecting. You can select in your case. It's just a example purpose. I'm selecting the true. Okay, and then I'll click on the next. Then this is the place here. Yes, any questions?
Uh-huh. Yeah. VPC also we can choose the VPC that we have created, right? Any of the VPC that we have created, which is having private and public subnets.
Correct. You can do that. Correct. You can do that.
And if we select a VPC and we want that instances to be launched only in public subnet, then in the subnet we can choose that public subnets, right?
Correct. Correct. Okay. So there's one more thing that you should have a little bit understanding about. If you give, right, guys, remember that in the previous slide we have selected the security group. Okay, we have selected security group. Now security group is kind of a resource that needs to be like that is bounded with the VPC. Okay, security group is the resource that is bounded with the VPC. So if you are launching or if you are creating the security group in, let's say, default VPC, okay, here this particular security group, like I have already created. Okay, I have chosen this one while selecting launch template. Okay, in the launch template I have chosen this particular security group. Now this particular security group I have created in the default VPC, and here it is asking me to choose the VPC. So here if I go and try to select the web app VPC, okay, if I select the other VPC, in that case it is a discrepancy. Okay, you get the point, like my one security group is in some other VPC, and here when I'm choosing my instances to launch, okay, those are going to be the other VPC. Let me explain to you, because that's something people face the issue. So I just realized that I should explain that thing to you. You created here the launch template, and within launch template there was one option that you had to choose a security group. Okay, And here in the ASG, you have one option that to choose a VPC. So make sure that in this security group, that whatever the security group you are selecting, that security group and this VPC rating belongs to the same one. Okay, so this security group has to be the part of this VPC. So let's say if in your case, if you're choosing something the custom VPC, okay, so make sure that the security group here you are attaching that also has to be present in that VPC. Okay, it shouldn't be in some other VPC. So both has to be aligned within the same VPC, or else while creating the ASG, okay, you're gonna face an issue that this ASG security group and the VPC belongs to different VPC. So that's something you will get an error. So that's the reason here, keep that thing in mind. In our case, we have selected one security group that is already created in the default VPC, and here also I'm selecting the default VPC, so we are good. So just click on next.
Amol, we can't create a security group without attaching to VPC. Is it possible to create a security group without attaching to any VPC, so that whenever we need to attach for these templates, we can use that security group and choose the VPC whichever we needed to choose? Is it
No,
possible?
no. Security group is a resource gets created within the VPC. So let's say you have created one security group in one VPC. You cannot use that security group in other VPC. Okay.
So before launch only we have to decide which VPC we want to choose, and based on that only we have to choose the security group also.
Correct. So like these all things you will be deciding already, okay, before launching the things, that which is going to be the VPC. Okay, now security group is kind of a thing that you can decide later also. Okay, like in this slide, like while creating the launch template, I could have launched the instance without security group also. So security group you can attach it later also, but VPC is something you need to decide it advance. Okay, without security group you cannot launch the ASG. Okay,
Okay, Amar. Okay, Amar.
yeah. So let's talk about here the advanced option. Okay, now these are the advanced option you have. Okay, and this is optional. Okay, the very first option we have, that's the load balancing. So if you remember that I told you that load balancer also we can launch it here. Now we can attach it later also, but this is just a option here we have. So if you want to launch your instance with the help of the load balancer, so here you can go and have the load balancer. Now load balancer is a complete different resource that we will learn in upcoming session. So I'm not putting that one integrating here. We can do that later. Okay. The next thing here, uh, what is this? VPC latest integration option to improve networking. Okay, now that's something I'm actually seeing it for the very first time. Okay, and I'm surprised to see what this service is. To improve networking capabilities and scalability, integrates your auto scaling group with your VPC lattice. VPC lattice facilitates communication between AWS service and helps you to connect and manage your application across compute services. Attaching incoming requests associated with it. Okay, looks like something that we can have the target groups, and okay, looks like something within the one we can have the multiple target groups, and we can distribute the traffics there. Okay, so it is something with respect to again load balancer, that option is look like. In fact, I need to understand what this exactly option is and how this is going to help. Okay, for the very first time actually I'm saying it. Okay, um, I- so they must have added this in the previous week or something like that. Okay, because before that I never seen this option. So I'll I frankly speaking I don't know what this option is, but this is something with respect to sending the traffic, okay, to the different target groups. So target group is something we are going to learn in the load balancing. Okay, so probably it is something related to that when we would like to have some internal communication, so we can forward the traffic to each of the target group. So looks like that is something this is something the service is with respect to that. Okay, we'll understand that more, and probably after that I can provide you more knowledge on this. So let me go ahead. So here anyways by default say option is what? No. Now in this case, like in this situation, how you can deal with? Okay, let me tell you the way also, because see, AWS is first of all it's a vibrant technology. Okay, like they are just keep updating their a lot of stuff all the time, and new stuff is going to coming all the time. So let's say after 3 years, if you try to understand same AWS portal, you will have something else, right? So just stay with the default option that whatever they are providing. If you don't have understanding about it, just stay with the default option. And we always have in most of the cases that we can always change the options later. Okay, so fine, here I'm just going with the default option, and let's go ahead. We have here one easy to check health check option. Now what this option is basically that here we are creating the age. Okay, age is basically going to launch the EC2 instances for us. So if any one of the EC2 is not working, okay, which is not in healthy state, so in that case just launch the other instances. So that's something also AG does for us. So this is here with respect to that. But right now, health check works with the load balancing actually. Load balancer has to be there. So with that only health check works. So we will again understand that later. If you want to have monitoring, okay, so you can just enable this option, and you will get the metric collection within the CloudWatch. So that's something one option you have. That is again optional. I'll click on next. This is something the important thing. Okay, that you are going to tell that what is the number of instances that you would like to launch. And in fact you can read here. Okay, choose the unit of measurement of desired capacity value. Okay, so maybe here I'll say I just want to launch 2 of the instances. Then minimum is, let's say I'm keeping the 2, and maximum I'm keeping like 5. Okay, so it is simply going to launch the 2 instances for me. Okay, and anyway there is no much traffic I have, so it will be staying on the minimum count is going to be the 2 1. Okay, then further here the number that what you see, this will not get automatically vary. Okay, there has to be something target tracking. Okay, automatic scaling only happen when you put that into the target scaling. Okay, so here we have the target tracking. Just click on that. Now here you can choose that what metric you would like to make your instance count up and down. So it is going to be the average CPU utilization, and you can decide target value. So let's say you said that once my instance traffic goes beyond the 60%, okay, now this parameter try to understand, guys. Okay, this is the average CPU utilization. Average CPU utilization of what? Average CPU utilization of, let's say, right now I have the, within this age I have the 1 2 3 4. Okay, I have the 4 instances. So for my one instance, like this instance, I'm having, let's say, the average CPU, like this CPU utilization is 65. Okay, and all of the other I'm having just a 50. Okay, CPU. So does it going to launch the instances for me? Answer is no. Okay, here you are saying what? Your average CPU utilization of your all the machines. So all the machines, when all the machine CPU utilization is going beyond to 60%, okay, in that case I'm going to launch the EC2 machines, like new machines will come. Okay, so all the machine consideration will be considered here, like it's not just one machine. Okay, so that's what the average CPU utilization meaning they are having. And then here you can mention the instance warm up time. Okay, instance warm up time means what? Basically, as soon as you launch the EC2 instance, so should be send the traffic towards your instance, so they can send the instance traffic. But here we have something instance warm time. So let's say you have a lot of different softwares you're installing, and your instance takes some time for readiness. If you remember in launch template, we have mentioned something called as user data script at last. Now with that user data scripts is actually getting executed of once your instance's creation is done. Once your instance creation is done, then further that script started executing. Now there you might have put like n number of softwares, okay, that you want HTTP, you want this software, you want that software, okay, like you have put like a very big script. Now in such case, it might happen that your instance is taking some extra time for machine readiness, okay. So you can mention that time. Let's say you're saying that just wait for 300 seconds. So that's what the instance warm time you have, okay. And also you have something, this is warm time is something, actually this is something with respect to the traffic, okay. So just understand that you are creating a new machine, okay, you're creating a new machine. Now this machine is not ready at all, and here you haven't selected any instance warm time, okay. So ASG has started forwarding the traffic towards this machine, but inside that you don't have a software readily available, okay. So your machine won't be able to respond back to the traffic, okay, your machine won't be able to respond back to your traffic. So in such case, what ASG might assume that this machine, newly machine what you have created, okay, that is not good, there's some problem with this machine, and that's the reason what ASG can do is ASG can terminate this machine and ASG can launch a new machine. But again, in the new machine also we will have that problem, okay, that before, even before machine readiness, we are like just we're just forwarding traffic towards this machine, and unnecessarily again ASG is going to delete that one, because we don't machine is not ready, and it is not responding to traffic. So to avoid that, we have this instance warm up time, that let's wait for 300 seconds and do any of the activity, whatever you want to do, the ASG wants to do the activity, so do after that, okay. So just wait for some time. Of course there is some by default warm time you have. So the default one, I think that is somewhere around 50 seconds or something. I don't recollect that, but yes, you can select something the time. Okay, now just do keep in mind that this 50 seconds the machine is going to wait. So let's say even you have provided a command by yourself that to AG that minimum count, just increase it to 3, and I want to have a 3 instances right now, but it is going to wait for 50 seconds, and after that only it is going to launch the 3. So just be careful about this particular time, warm time, okay. You have to wait that much of time before taking any ASG related decision. So this is what the instance time, warm time, you have the parameter.
One question over here.
Yes.
How can we come up with this time? Because there might be a scenario sometimes script might be taking a few more minutes than expected. So in that scenario, like providing any value over here will be efficient for us, like 300 seconds or 500 seconds. It might be taking that script is learning bit more longer.
Yeah, so first of all, what you need to do is, the scripts are, some of the times, few of the softwares are challenging, okay, especially let's say enterprise softwares, you purchase it, the different softwares you purchase it, and they take some time, okay, to start. As soon as you start your machine, that doesn't mean they just get start, okay. So they require their own time. They're dependent on a number of softwares, and one by one, sometimes the software starts, and sometimes may get wasted. So in such situation, you need to first of all understand that how much your one system actually takes a time, okay, like to get all services started, how much time you require. And of course you keep some buffer time also, okay. Let's say your machine required 100 seconds for readiness, so you might consider, let's say 150 or 200 seconds, so that within that particular time you are assuming that your machine will be ready, and then you can add that machine within the traffic. So that's how you need to understand. Like first of all, you need to test this, okay, like 1 to 2 times you will be testing it by yourself, how much time does it take. It's just that you don't have to make hurry, okay. Let's say here you have selected as 50 seconds, but your actual machine is taking 100 second times, okay, then it's a problem. If you're keeping the time, let's say your machine required 200 seconds and here you're selecting the 300 seconds, then it's not a problem. It just you will be waiting 100 seconds more, okay, for launching the new machine. Okay, like while launching the machine, you will be just waiting 100 seconds more. That's it. Okay, so that's how you have to come up with this time. So you don't have to keep too much also, and you don't have to like you don't have to make the hurry also. If you're making hurry, then it's a problem. Okay, that unnecessary, if you have the users might just not be able to access your application, or Edge sometimes might think that your application is not running properly. So let's relaunch this. Okay, so it is going to terminate that one. It's keep just launching the new instances. So that problem might happen. You get the point?
Yes, Anu. And how can we test these things? Like, do we have any separate kind of environment, or we will be doing a manual setup of these things in the same account, like in real time?
So yeah, in real time you have like a dev account. Okay, so what you can do is, let's say you created the ASG. Okay, and also there's something we have we have a this is actually the script techniques. Okay, in the bash scripting we have some of the techniques we have. So what while executing the bash scripting, you can also understand the execution time. Okay, so there are few of the bash scripting techniques with the help of which you can understand your script execution time. That at as soon as the command started execution, you can just note down your time. Once your execution is done, you can again note down your time. Okay, so these are the few of the techniques you can use, and basically you do all of these things in a dev account. So at initial stages you will be understanding that, okay, that how much is your warm up time is, that instance warm up time is, that basically how much your instance requires time to get in a ready mode. Okay, so you will be testing it, or in fact you can just, let's say you have placed the application, you launch a new instance. Okay, let's say you set up a count to 0. Okay, here you have a count, you just set up this, all the desired and minimum count 0, no instance is running, and you made the changes here 1 1, and then you launch it. Okay, then how much time you required to actually send the traffic? You can keep refreshing your application URL, how much time you required actually to start your application. Okay, you can note it down with that way also. Okay, so that like these are the ways with which you can understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, fine. So then we have here the instance maintenance policy. Now this maintenance is what, basically when we would like to change, or let's say when we are replacing the instances. So if you have something in your mind that let's say this is what prioritize availability. Okay, means what, that let's say you tell to the AG that in fact in the middle you can also change the instance count, right? So let's say now this count we have set up. Okay, in later stage you said no, now my desired capacity is something, let's say 5. Okay, you can come and change at any time. So in such case, any of the replacement behavior you have, okay, so whenever you are launching new instances, so launch before terminating. Now prioritize availability means what, whenever we are launching the new machine, so if you are terminating any machine, so launch all the machines and then terminate. Okay, then we have control cost. Control cost means that you don't want to have extra instances running all the time. First of all, terminate those extra instances and then launch the new machine. And then custom behavior, then you can set up the something by yourself with the policy. Okay, now this is with respect to the replacement. Okay, replacement in the sense, just try to understand in this way, that when we are doing few of the things where the just a modification is not going to help you. Okay, I'll tell you example. Let's say we have the running, like all the instances are running at this moment. Okay, and we are trying to change something parameter which is going to destroy your existing instances, and the new instance is going to be created. Okay, so and then we have like a lot of parameters like that. Okay, so just assume that, just suppose that we have the T2 micro machine running, and new launch template version, I'm doing the T2 medium. So what I'm basically doing, I'm just changing the instance type. And if I refresh, okay, there's one option we have called as refresh. So if I click on refresh button, so in such case, my existing instances is going to terminate and new instances are going to come up, right? So there we have this possibility that you know create the new instances first, like create a T2 medium first machines and then terminate a T2 micro machine, or terminate and launch. Okay, terminate in launch means what? That you are telling that terminate the existing machines and then launch. Okay, so in this case you are going to save the cost. Okay, here in this case you are going to give the priority to availability. You will have, at the same time, you will have a lot of machines running, so that's a prioritize. Your availability is your prioritizing that one. Controlling cost means that you don't want extra machines to be launched, just terminate the existing one, launch a new one. Okay, no policy is basically that you tell to AG that the whichever way you want. Okay, so you do it, and AG is simply doing it its own. So AG is also smart. Okay, AG is also smart, so that's the reason we keep most of times no policy. Basically AG is also understand it is not going to terminate all the machines in one go. It is just going to do it one by one. Okay, so one launch, one termination, one launch, one termination. That's how it does. So that's the reason we also go with the rebalancing, that we do it with the no policy, which is by default option. So let's select that one and go ahead. Then next one option you have, that is scale in protection. Okay, scale in protection means what? So that's the reason I told you this two terminology: scale out and scale in. Scale out means what? Scale out means that you're launching the new instance. So let's say we have the two instances running, and if I add the third one, so that is what meaning of the scale out. And scale in means what? That you don't want to have that third instance. Okay, so when there is a no traffic at all, okay, edge is going to terminate the extra instances. So in such case, you can just, let's say if your wish is that you don't want to terminate the machines at all. Okay, you have the three machines running, so just keep all the three machines as it is. Okay, don't terminate this third machine. Okay, so you can just enable this option that you don't want scale in. Okay, scale out is fine, that launch as many as instances, but don't do a scale in. Okay, if you have something to do, okay, you can go and do it. Now here you can ask me the question like, why anyone would like to go to do that? Like, let's say there is no traffic and still you wish to run multiple machines. Okay, so here the question is not with respect to the costing. Okay, so basically here, let's say here the new machine, that whatever you have it, okay, there is something, the important data you have. Okay, important data you have, and you don't want to lose that data. So in such case, that if the AG terminate this machine, then that's a problem for me, right? So that's the reason here you can avoid that by selecting this option, that is enable instance scale in protection. Okay, so like here you just tick mark this option, and if you do that, okay, so that is not going to terminate machine. Okay, so that's the option you have it here.
Amul, once can you say again scale in? I did not get it.
So scale in means what? That basically there are two terminology you need to understand. First, scale out means that you are adding the new machines. Okay, scale in means that you're terminating the extra machines, that let's say your traffic, like here you have said that 60% traffic, right? So your traffic is just at the 10%, okay, average. Then the age is also going to work in reverse way. Age is just going to delete the extra machines that what we have. Okay, so in such situation, let's suppose that you don't want to lose data, there's something important data you have. Okay, so you can just tick mark this option, which is basically is not going to terminate the machines by itself. Okay, it is not going to terminate your new machines, that whatever you have extra machines, it is not going to terminate by its own. You get the
But
point?
then all the missions which are scaled up will be running, right? Suppose
Yes,
our minimum count is 2 and it went to 5, then all the 5 will be running continuously.
correct. Yes. So we want that. Okay, we want. And why? Because it's not about the costing, right? I said it's not about the costing. Here there's something, the important data if we have. Okay, now this option, when you're gonna choose, when we have something, the important data or something like that, that we don't want to lose. Okay, so let's say each instance is storing some data, useful data in there at some place. Okay, and if this instance termination happen, then probably I might lose the data. Let's say I have to do some troubleshooting to this machine. Okay, so in these cases we just keep this option enabled, so that I don't want any the scaling protection. So scaling protection means that I don't want to lose the instances. So that's what here option we have.
Okay, Aman.
Yeah. So these are the different options we have, and like this all are the optional one. Okay, so here you just select your desired capacity and all these things. Something is useful we have. Rest of them I'm just skipping the default option. Just click on next. We have one more option to do, that's SNS service. That's again AWS own service, and that is a really easy service to actually configure. Like let's suppose that you want some notification that as soon as the new instance is getting launched or any of the instance termination is happening. So all of these scenarios you just want to be documented, or you just want to notify to few of the people, let's say DevOps team or infra team. Okay, the new instance is getting launched. Okay, so you just want to send an email, so you can do that. Okay, you can just click on add notification. There's something SNS topic we need to select, and in SNS topic we need to provide email IDs to which all people we have to select this. To which all people we have to provide this email. You can select that, and that's how we will receive the notification. Okay, I can click on next. Now that this is a tag. Okay, you can add the tags. I can click on next, and then finally here we are done with everything. Okay, so we are done with everything. Now of course it took bit time for to understand the ASG, and here because of there are various options that we have associated with the ASG. So it is like the core of it is not that difficult to understand. Okay, here you just provided some name, some launch template, then network. Okay, like you are selecting here a default VPC and a few of the subnets. So wherever AWS is going to launch the EC2, so it is going to launch the EC2 machines within these two AZs. Okay, so that's what here we have. Load balancer we have not selected. And finally, if I go to last, I can say create auto scaling group. Now auto scaling group creation isn't going on. Okay, like here you see the updating capacity. Now what is going to happen, that here you see the instance count right now you have a 2, sorry, you have 0, but at while setting up you said here you wish to have a 2 instances. Okay, so now what is going to happen, that the 2 of the instances is launching is in progress. Now of course they will take some time for launch. Okay, so here you see that yes, we can see the 2 of the instances we have now, and as expected now we should have the 2 instances running. Okay, so I'll keep this window and I'll go back on this window to just confirm, do I really have the 2 instances running? So here you can see that guys, that we have the 2 instances running. So these are the 2 instances got launched here with the ASG. Okay, and I can confirm that. Okay, just select any one of the instance and scroll down. Okay, here you see that. Here you should be able to see that whether instance is getting launched with the ASG or just you have created it normally. Okay, so yes, I can see that instance is created with the auto scaling group. Now further here you can click on this instance and you can check the activities also. Okay, so what are the activities are happening here? You can see. So 2 of the instances that you are launching, so that's something you can see. So all the time, okay, like what is the cause for launching this instance, okay, or termination, anything happens, so you should be able to see all the activities here. Then further you have here one more option, that is this is the desired minimum, right? So this option you can always change. So you can also make it 0. Okay, you can make it whatever you wish to do. Okay, all the time you can do it. And here you have the instance refresh option, like I told you, right? Like let's say you change something. Now just do remember one thing, that right now we have here the instances running. Okay, the instance is running is they have created by the auto scaling group. Now just assume that you wish to do some changes here with respect to this or here let's say T2 micro, instead of T2 micro, you would like to launch the instance that is the T2 medium. Now how you can make it? Okay, how you can make it? So you cannot do and manually changes this thing, okay? Because you have, let's say, the 10 number of instances. So are you gonna make the changes in the 10 instances? No, right? So how exactly that replacement has to be done? Okay, so let's talk about that. So let's say here T2 micro you have, instead of T2 micro, in upcoming time, okay, you got the requirement that you need to change the hardware. Instead of T2 micro, you have to go with T2 medium. So what you're gonna do, you will go to the launch template section. Here, this is my default version is latest version is also 1. I'll be creating the new version out of this particular template. Just go to action. Here we have the option that modify template, create new version. Just click there. Now you can provide the description, okay, for what purpose you're changing. So let's say I want a T2 medium is something, a requirement is T2 medium is a requirement. So just type anything. And then here, what changes you have to make? So instead of T2 micro, you wish to go with the T2 medium. So just select that one. And then here I'll say, create template version. So now you have updated or you have created that new template. Okay. So in the launch template, if I go, you can see the latest version. I have the second one. Okay. If I click on launch template, you can see here I have the different templates. Like this first template is showing this me. If I check the second version, you can see that T2 medium is there. Okay. So like that, I can just keep updating my versions. Okay. Like whatever the things I would like to go. But here I have made the changes in the launch template. That doesn't mean that your AG will reflect those changes here. Okay. Or like here, your EC2 will reflect those changes. So here you still have the T2 micro running. Now, if you want, the changes should get reflected. So either you have two choices. One is that you can go here and you can click here the instance refresh. So start instance refresh, like whatever is your latest launch template is, with the help of that, the new instances will come up. That one option you have, but it's a lot of time consuming time. Okay, as I already mentioned, that warm up time and everything. Let's say you just want to do it immediately. Okay, just now I just want to do it immediately right now. Okay, simply go and terminate your instance. Okay, simply terminate your instance. So that instance is terminated, right? You have one more. So I'm going to, terminate the instance. Now just do remember one thing, guys. Okay, here in this case, we have set up the minimum capacity as 2. So even if you have just tried to delete any of the instances by yourself, so all the time you will see that we always have the 2 of the instances running. So even if you terminate any one of the instances, still it is going to launch the instance. It's just going to keep launching the instances. Okay, it is going to keep launching the instances. It will always going to maintain the 2 of the instances count. Okay, so you cannot terminate the instances from here. Basically, even if you terminate, the new instance will get launched again and again and again. Okay, so that's something thing will always go on. And now you can see here we have successfully terminated the instances. And just look at, okay, what is happening, the activity. Okay, so here I will just refresh this page, and here you can see that still nothing has happened. Okay, because we have something that warm up time, right? So it is not going to take the decision just like that. Okay, it is just going to wait for some time. Here you see the first incident got reported. The terminating of the instance EC2 is like reported. Okay, because we have done that one. Now termination is successful. Here you can check termination is successful, and because of that the new instance is getting launched. Okay, you can see here, so everything is happening automatically. So here the new instance is getting launched. So again it will take some time, and yes, we have the one instance launch. Okay, so if I go and check the instances, you can see here one instance has came up and it is in running, and the whenever a new instance started, okay, so it has came up with the T2 medium. So you can say that, like I just explained you how you have to update your instance configuration when you are using the auto scaling group. So you don't have to do any manual changes here within your EC2 machine, or like here on this EC2 uh, UI. Everything you have to do it inside your launch template, because launch template is the way through which you have to do it. Okay, so launch template is the way through which you have created this EC2 servers, right? So everything you have to updation, you have to do it with the in a launch template. And here you can see in some time you should have the one more instance running. Let's check the activities, what is happening here. So earlier two of the instances were running, then one termination happened, then the second launch instance happened, then again it is going to wait for 50 seconds in middle, right? I think we have set up the 50 second or something. Okay, and then after that you see here the new instance has started running. Okay, the second termination detected, and the new launch is in progress, so not in service. Okay, we'll have the new instance running here, and here we go. So this is the second instance we have, and again this instance came with the T2 medium second. Okay, so you just try, keep deleting, then new instance will again, it is going to launch it for you, because auto scaling group will automatically detects that it has to maintain the two number of instances all the time. So as soon as it realizes that any one of the instance count is going below 2, okay, it is going to launch the new instance. So that's how it works. Okay, now here you can ask me the question, then let's say you just don't want any of the instances to be running. Okay, you're doing the practice, and let's say you don't want any, because here you terminate the instance, new instance is getting launched. Okay, so in this situation, how you can make it 0? So simply come here on this particular here, okay, and just make your desired and the minimum capital as 0. Okay, go to edit. Here you can make the count as 0, and your minimum also 0, and you can update. So now what you have done is you have said 0 0 here, means what? That you want, okay, your auto scaling group want to have that count as 0. So now here you won't be having these instances running anymore. Okay, that will get terminated soon. So you can see now instance is getting shutting down. So yes, this is the way that you can keep launching your instances, you can terminate it, you can update it. Okay, all this activity you can keep doing it, and all the time you have some instances running in the standard way. Okay, all the configuration of the instances are going to be the standard one, and standardization is something that we always have to maintain. That's the reason I said right at start, we will be launching the ASG, and that's what the best practice we do it in organization, that we don't launch instances manually. We actually create the ASG, and ASG is actually maintaining your instances. So is this understood to you all? Any question, guys, here? Anything from your end? Any questions, guys? No questions? Okay.
Yeah, hi everyone. Actually, we created T2 micro machine and here is T2 medium. So it's following in the template we created T2 medium. That's why it's T2 medium.
Yes. So I just assume a scenario in which that, let's say you firstly you launch the T2 micro thing. Okay, and T2 micro thing was running fine. Okay, like two machines we have created, and that was working fine. Now over a period of time, let's say after a month, you realize that the T2 micro machine is something not sufficient for you. Now you have to make it as you have to change it to T2 medium. So how exactly you can change it? Okay, so like where exactly you will be making changes? So you have to go to launch template again. You will make necessary changes, like you will be creating basically a new version. Okay, you'll be creating a new version, and if you remember that while creating the auto scaling group, we have selected one option called as the like while selecting launch template, always choose the latest version. Okay, because of that whenever we are terminating the existing instances, so they will get created with the latest launch template, and latest launch template is saying that your machine has to get created with the T2 medium, okay, instance type. So that's how I just wanted to show you how you can update your configuration that if you wish to.
Okay, okay, got it.
You get my point?
Yeah, yeah. So we created T2 micro in the launch template. I mean T2 medium. That's why it's created.
Yes, yes,
It
correctly.
yes.
So that's the reason now we have. So every single time whenever we are launching the machine, so now it's coming T2 medium, and the reason is because in the launch template, latest version. Okay, so here this is the launch template we have, and in a default version we have the T2 micro, but in latest version we have the T2 medium. So it is always going to consider latest version. So let's say again you want to go back to your T2 micro again. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna create again the new launch template. Okay, here I should get that option. So you can see modify template. You can go and create new version. Okay, and here you can make that change. Okay, so what that change is, wait, yeah, now it is showing me. Okay, so you can go and choose back to your T2 micro again, and again you can say the create template. Okay, so now that would be my third version. Okay, that would be my third version. So if I go, so in the third version again I have the T2 micro. So and that is my latest one. Okay, among this is my latest template is. So if I launch the instances again here, so let's say if I just select the minimum count as 1 and decide 1 update, so my one instance will get launched, but again that will get launched with the latest template, and latest template is saying that your T2 micro is something that I have selected there, right?
Yeah,
You get the point?
yeah, yeah. I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, guys? So here today we learned about the ASG. Now tomorrow what we will do is we just have to attach the load balancer to it, okay? Because without load balancer, it's not a complete solution that we are providing. Okay, in terms of like we are saying that high availability and traffic also should get towards your application with the with the something reliable solution. So load balancer is something we'll learn tomorrow, and we'll integrate with the ASG. Okay, so that's the next thing topic we have to discuss tomorrow. We will discuss about the load balancer. So see you there in tomorrow's session, guys. Okay, if you don't have a
Aman,
question, yes.
Monday.
tomorrow or Monday?
Wait a second. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, today's Friday. I just forgot. Sorry for that. Okay, the next session is going to be on Monday. Thanks, Sushila, for reminding. Next session would be on Monday. So on Monday we will actually learn the load balancer topic. Yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah,
Thank you.
happy weekend. And yeah, happy weekend. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.